Season 6 has finally arrived, and for many of us, I think we're overjoyed, because Season 5 probably dragged on just a little bit. So my name's Rampart44, I'm going to be talking through some of the patch notes. Don't worry, I'm not going to be talking about every single part, because it's way too long, but I will link the description below if you did want to read them if you haven't already. But do remember, before I get into it, to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. Right, let's get into the main parts of it then. So, of course, we see a new character being added into the game, Rampart. She is definitely, I think, going to be a meta changer. I'm going to be doing a video, hopefully a bit later on today, which is actually going to be covering much more detail about Rampart, what she can do, and all the things that she has as her special abilities. I mean, just to give a kind of a brief overview, of course, though, she increases the magazine capacity and faster reloads on LMGs. She also increases the amount of shots before overheating occurs on the L-Star, and the cooling animation, which I will go through a bit later. She can build defensive walls, so a little bit like Watson in that respect, although actually they are a lot better. Really, really good. It can actually block incoming shots, and it amplifies outgoing shots, and actually increases the damage. There's a lot to test there, and that's going to take a little bit of time, I would say, but it's very, very interesting. Rampart also has the mounted machine gun turret thing, which apparently anyone can use if, say, you lose that particular position, but, you know, it is going to definitely be well, maybe overpowered, I'm not sure. The Volt SMG has been added into the game, of course, which I'm sure that everyone knows. I won't go too much into detail about that, because again, I'm going to do a video about that as well. We got the crafting system, which of course should cut down some RNG for those people who like to collect things. Not quite sure how that's going to be. I'm not sure if I like that particular aspect or not. It might help you find a few items that you can't find, maybe, but then also it may take time out of the game where you can be hunting people down or fighting, and it may encourage a bit too much kind of camping and sitting back, just collecting as many materials, and of course then waiting to end game to win the fights. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. Again, that's going to definitely need some testing to kind of find out. So something I did like, and this is a personal opinion, I'd love to hear some thoughts on what you think about the armor changes. So of course you kind of start off with technically a white Evo shield, although it is empty, and then when you do damage initially, of course that will build up. Didn't explain that, you know, if you do have that aspect initially, whether when you first start off with like a white shield, does it then replenish when you're shooting someone so you do get a shield while you're fighting, or do you have to find some shield cells and go and do it? I know blue and the other levels apparently do have to be replenished by the shield, which I think, and I thought is a little bit of a nightmare. I did an Evo shield video, and I would have liked it where it replenished, because technically it would have only been once up to those 5 levels, or 4 levels actually, because gold is not included. But however, an interesting one, they've increased the damage, so you can't just get red shield after 3 shots, which is really cool, and you can still find the other coloured loot shields on the ground up to purple. Red is not there, you have to do that yourself, which is really, really kind of cool. They've added hollow sprays, so just like kind of a little emote thing. I've actually seen the Octane one in the firing range when I did a couple of tests. It says catch me if you can. You can actually like it. I'm not sure whether that was a player or, you know, one of the devs. I have no idea, but anyway, it was pretty cool, and yeah, I think that's going to be quite a fun little aspect. Battle Pass, yeah, I'll talk about that later, but there is some legend changes, and I think this is probably the biggest part. So all Recon Legends getting a change. Bloodhound, Crypto, and Pathfinder, they can now use survey beacons, and they can find the next ring location. Crypto can use his drone to instantly get the information. So they, of course, with Pathfinder, they changed it slightly because he won't be unique anymore, and he gets then a cooldown reduction for each beacon he uses. So the maximum could go down to, for the entirety of the match, would be down to 60 seconds per zipline gun for the team. Interesting. Bloodhound got a massive buff, which surprised me. Honestly, I'm a Bloodhound stroke Mirage main, and I've used both of them a lot. I didn't think that Bloodhound needed a buff, and they buffed him, and they buffed him a lot. Now, I haven't had the chance to actually go into games and actually test him of how overpowered he's going to be, but I'll be honest, I think he's going to be exceptionally strong and I wouldn't be surprised if he wouldn't be one of the top 3 legends that are in the game. He's kind of top 4 for usage, but we're talking actual how good the legend he's going to be. He basically is able to, of course, do the survey beacons, which is handy. You can work out the next ring location. Thumbs up on that, I suppose. That one isn't not a bad change, but becomes now a more gather and tracker. So the Beast of the Hunt is still very vocal, which is fine. I initially said I wanted it quieter, but actually I think, that's kind of like a drawback of such a good ultimate. The scan also gives, of course, your position away and does warn enemies in a way that you're coming, but then it gives you information as well. When he's in his ultimate now, there's apparently a lot more room because he didn't perform as well. I don't know where they get these stats from, by the way, because I didn't understand that. So he now gains even more duration when Bloodhound scores a knockdown or a kill with the ultimate, about to run out. So basically, Beast of the Hunter duration extension, depending on the amount of time remaining, can be anything between 5 to 15 seconds. So if you kind of run into loads of enemies and basically get a big chance to, kill people or knock them down, you could be scoring infinite and a lot of Beast of the Hunt mode. Fun times. His Eye of the Allfather reduces from 25 seconds down to 6 seconds, and the animation speeds up from 1.8 to 0.9. Also, interesting enough, if you have a gold helmet, it goes down to 5 seconds from 6. So you can be scanning all the time, chasing enemies down, and if they're trying to run away and heal, good luck to them, because it's very unlikely that they're ever going to get away. It's going to be a nightmare. So moving on, Crypto got a buff as well. He can now activate respawn beacons from his drone, which is interesting. He can still do the survey beacons, so again, not much change there. They did make a little bit of a change with the surveillance drone, so it make it a bit more consistent to hit. They doubled its hit points, but they increased the actual mass, making it a bit easier to hit, because I'll be honest, it is a little bit of a nightmare. EMP now will slow teammates caught in the blast, even if they had no shields. So kind of a buff stroke nerf, and that includes players that are using Revenant's Death Totem will also be slowed as well. I'm quite happy about that aspect, not sure about the rest of it, but we will see how that pans out. So apart from that, as I say, the surveillance drone is getting 60 HP instead of 30, and the hitbox size, the cube of the edge, length 16 is being increased up to 24. Basically means a bit easier to hit, is pretty much the sum up there. So Revenant is getting slight change. I think it was because of a certain play in pro play between a Revenant raid and Crypto squad. Information's all on the notes. But for 2 seconds after being recalled by the Death Totem, players cannot use Race Dimensional Rift. Interesting. Okay. Octane can now use his stim while healing, but stim will not remove the slow you incur while healing, which I think was something that they did have originally in Season 5 when he got buffed, but they removed it, and they are obviously not planning to put it back. Fair enough. Loba was a bit disappointing. I have to say that I really thought that she was going to get some changes, especially to her bracelet. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. They basically lowered the cooldown from 3 minutes to 90 seconds for her black market. So 50% reduction. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong, black market is not a bad ultimate, and it can quite help you loot, but you can only take 2 items from it. It slows down combat. It can be useful maybe occasionally, but I really don't see that making Loba more meta or more used than she is now, personally, but we will see. Gibraltar got a nerf, so increased cooldown from 3 minutes to 4.5 minutes for his defensive bombardment. An interesting one. I think it's more actually to do with Gibraltar himself that needed the sort of like the nerf in regards to the damage reduction that he takes. That would have been a more positive one. So again, I mean, this is not terrible, but I'm not that impressed with it, to be honest. Some of these changes seem a little lazy, but I do understand that COVID-19 and all that stuff is going to affect it, but I would have liked to have seen some changes. The race got a nerf to her ult, so it's going to be taken from 150 seconds to 210, meaning that it was 2.5 minutes or 2.5 minutes, so now it's 3.5 minutes. Nothing else was changed with her. And Watson trophy system will now shoot down caustic barrels in a flight if they would have landed inside the range of the trophy. So the pylon, basically, if it's already positioned, caustic throws a gas trap in there, it will basically act like a grenade. It will stop it inflating and acting up. So we've got, of course, the devotion added back in, so the turbocharger and the extended energy mags hop-ups included. Precision choke was removed. We all know about the R99 being a care package weapon. They increased the damage from 11 to 12, so basically hardly anything, and they increased the magazine size to 32, and it's 160 ammo reserve. Personally, I'm kind of like, okay. I felt that the Prowler Select Fire should have been the care package weapon. I did a video last night about the Prowler and that versus the R99. Yes, the damage numbers slightly changed on the R99 because of the changes, but still the same principle, and I really am a little bit surprised. So aside from that, the Hemlock got a bit of a buff. They reduced the vertical recoil in burst mode. They slightly reduced the recoil pattern on the second and third shot, so the first burst kicks less, which is not a bad thing, and the burst mode's time between bursts has now gone from 0.32 to 0.28. It doesn't sound like much, but I imagine that will be pretty good. Again, I'm going to need to test that, but when I saw it, I thought, okay. Charge rifle will now use 2 ammo per shot, and they increase the mag size from 4 to 8. The triple take got a buff as well, increased the fire rate from 1.25 to 1.4. They increased the magazine sizes as well to 6, 7, 8, and 9, depending on the mags. And the choke hop-up is built into the weapon now, which you can toggle to enable turning off and on as always. Peacekeeper also has the choke enabled, same thing. Spitfire got the recoil controllability improved, and if you use Rampart, it's going to be even better. And they updated the Havoc with a new recoil pattern as well. This just means that it has a slightly different recoil pattern. It's going to be much easier to kind of use. It's also got the turbocharger and the extended heavy mags now. I'm worried that that is going to be an absolute nightmare to kind of deal with, along with all the other LMGs and other things, Rampart and all the other stuff going in. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting start to the season. Mozambique increased size from 3 to 4. Yeah, very uninteresting. And they increased the damage from a P2020 from 13 to 15, but they then decreased the hammer point damage multiplier from 2.7 to 2.35. Not that interesting. They increased the mag as well, but that'll be in the notes. The Sentinel got a slight buff as well, so it now only requires 1 sealed cell to charge if the player has gold armor, so it gives a kind of an added perk if you have gold. And they did nerf the Prowler a little bit as well, which is probably the only thing I was happiest about. Hopefully they reduced the amount of select fires in the map as well, which I kind of mentioned in yesterday's video. I'll link that below, but I definitely would feel that that needs changing. They slightly reduces the vertical recoil though in burst mode, so basically the same as what they've done to the Hemlock, but they've increased the horizontal recoil in auto mode, so it should make it just a little bit harder to hit every bullet or hit a lot of shots. But in my video yesterday I showed pretty much the numbers, the damage numbers that it can do. I'll be honest, even with this, I still don't think this is going to be enough, and I feel that the Prowler Select Fire especially is going to still be overpowered, and actually better than the R99 as a care package weapon. But if you watch my video, do let me know what you thought. Comment below on all this, and of course I'll go through the things. The rest of the notes I'll link the description below, so everything else will be detailed. I think personally it's going to be an interesting season. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, if I'm being honest. I'm a little bit worried, if I'm being fair, that this is going to be one of those seasons where it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare, and I'm not that keen on some of the changes they made. Some of them I am, some of them I'm not, but it is early days, so it's really, really hard to exactly know 100%. But do let me know your thoughts. If you liked the video, you found it useful, found it as quite a quick update, brilliant. Look out for the Rampart video, which I'll be doing hopefully later today when I get a chance, and I think that's it, really. So brilliant. So just remember to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Cheers now. Bye.